this is the title of the presentation. This is me. I'm MVP since August this year, and this is me on Twitter. So if you want to reach out, I'll be glad to connect as well. And from there, let's do it. I don't know, but he told me that it's a very advanced group. So some of you already know about calculation groups. We'll see. I will do a very easy example, and then we'll do what I call like the industrialization. Let's say, because calculation groups are fine, but at the same time, you say like, yeah, but it takes some time to build one. And then if you want to do it again in another report, then it's like, oh, come on, because you have to change little things. So of course you can do copy paste, but copy pasting is boring. So we'll learn how to develop a C# script to create the calculation groups in one click. But this was a very long title, so I made it shorter. Okay. So anyway, here I have a very basic model, like a Contoso one with a few tables, nothing fancy. What we'll do first is we'll try to build a calculation group so that only the highest data label is shown. Yeah, because maybe it's the only point that is interesting. And then once we build that and we make the C# script, then I hope that we have some interaction and you tell me if you want to learn a little more about calculation groups or you want to learn a little more about C#, because we can go both ways. Okay, so as you know, we cannot build calculation groups in Power BI desktop, so we'll use an external tool. I just realized I have my Power BI desktop in Catalan. Well, hopefully you can get through it. Buttons are in the same place. Sorry about that. So anyway, we'll go. We can use the free version, the Tabular Editor or Tabular Editor 3. So there's no big deal. And I'll do it with the free version so that you're more familiar with the interface, but they are very similar. Okay. So here I have a warning because I have the unsupported actions enabled, even though that for what we'll be doing now is not required. I just have them on always. I'm very careful what I do. Okay. So anyway, here I have my tables. You can see here the tables from my model, and then we just need to right click and create a calculation group. Okay. And we want to play with the data labels. So I'll call this one labels. Okay. And let's see if I can do this. Okay, now from here, I normally call the column as well the same name as the calculation groups. Because if you add it to the filter pane, then it's a bit difficult to understand who is who. And now calculation item. Okay, and we'll call this like only top value. Only top value. Okay, we'll do it like this. And now we'll move to the expression editor. Yeah. Okay, let me work. Okay, good. Now, the expression editor, by default, we are here in the property expression. Yeah. So this is about the value. So this calculation group, this calculation item will modify a measure. Yeah. And the expression is the one responsible for the value of that measure. In our use case, we don't want to change that because we just want to play with the data label. So we'll just leave this as selected measure, right? Yeah, whatever the measure is, the matter, whatever the measure value that we'll leave. Now, where things get fancy though, is in the format string expression. Yep. So here, we need to get two values, right? We need first we need to know if we are in the maximum value data label or not. Yeah, and depending on that, we'll use a certain format string or a different format string. That's the good thing. So format string expression, for those that don't know, it's a DAX expression that results in a string that can be used as the format string of the measure. Yeah, so it's a dynamic format string, so to say, which is great because then you can use a different format string for every data point. And then we can do use cases like the one we're about to do, which is to hide all the data labels that are not the top value for that particular chart. Okay, so first we'll go for the easy one. Yeah, we'll do with variables. So the current value, and that's selected measure again. Selected measure. Okay. Next, we want the max value. And here is when the things get a bit complicated. Well, complicated, or let's say, yeah, it's a bit difficult because we cannot say here, take the, that field from the visual. There's no way in DAX to do that. So we'll have to look at what field do we want to, what happened here? Or did I just delete that? Okay, sorry. No, I'll go out of this thing. Okay, let's see what is going on. Did I just delete everything? C sharp? Yeah, apparently I did, somehow. Okay, no big deal. Selected measure. And now here, let's do it again. Current value, selected measure. Okay, and now here, max value equals. Okay, now we need to think. Here we are using a field called year, month, short in the axis, and I don't know, probably there's better DAX. I don't know. I've been playing just for. We don't want to get too deep into the DAX. I'll just use this expression. So it's calculate. Yeah, we need to modify the filter context, and then we want to do a max x over the values of that field, which where is it? Here in the date. Yeah, I did that with Tabular Editor 3, which is a bit easier to do. Year, month, short. This is the field. Very good. Wait, we'll do that nicely. Okay, now we have the values, and here we want to evaluate whatever measure we have there. So it's a selected measure. Very good. So now we close the max x, and now we need to modify the filter context so that we have all the values from the visual, which is here we'll do the all selected. And we'll just use the whole date table. I don't know, I ran into some problems before. I guess this is fine. I don't know. Hopefully Marco and Alberto are not in the chat. Okay, now we already have, okay, let me make this bigger and this bigger so we can see something. Okay, here. So we have these two, and now, well, the result that we want is a format string, remember? So what we'll do is an if statement. If current value equals max value, then what? Then we are in the maximum value point, right? So what format string do we need? Whatever format string we had. Yeah, we don't want to modify the format string in that case, correct? So there's a word for that, which is selected measure format string. Yeah, this is a real DAX function. So now the point is when we are not there, what should we use as a format string so that the data label disappears? And I think there are different possibilities. So I don't know, I just use this one. Yeah, but I think I think this is normally is fine. We'll see in a moment. Yeah, so this is a, normally in the format string, if you use this, this is the, if you separate with a semicolon, it's like positive numbers, negative numbers, and 0. So here I'm using like nothing for positive, nothing for negative, nothing for 0, something like this, okay? And we close this. And now we just need to use a return result. This way, if it doesn't work, we can debug easily. Yeah, one first validation that we can do is to, if the DAX formats is that we didn't do anything wrong, or not too wrong at least. And now, as you see, we already have the calculation item here, but we need to save it back to the model. So let's do that. And I don't know what this is. Oh, there's another. Okay, out. Okay, hopefully we'll be able to get back to. There we go. And now we have to refresh from this side so that the new calculation group is calculated. And we already see it here. See labels. In case you haven't seen a calculation group from Tabular Editor, from PRV, we see almost nothing. This is all we'll see from that calculation group here. We don't see the DAX expressions. And now this is the chart. So we'll just move this to the field, to the visual level filters. And voila, now we see only the top value, right? You say, oh, Bernat, but what about the axis? Yeah, the axis is gone. Yeah. So, I mean, there are some approaches if you want to keep it, but at the same time, if you're showing a data label, do you really need the axis? So, but that's another thing. Now, so now we built a calculation group that only leaves the top value, and we want to make a C# script so that every time we have this use case, we can like just boom, run a macro and have it. Yeah, because as you saw, our DAX expression for the format string really reads from the model. So if I'm in a model in which the date table is not called date, or we're not using that field as the axis, then we'll need a slightly different expression, correct? So how can we do that? And here's this is the new thing from today. Yeah? So we'll do that. You can, I mean, if you're really good with C#, you can start writing C# here, but you need to know like everything. I don't know everything, so I'll use something else, which is Visual Studio, which looks very fancy, but I will do it very, very easy. Yeah, you just need to install Visual Studio. It's free. There's a free edition, and make sure that you install the .NET module, so you'll have all the C# and so on installed as well. And now, in previous presentations, I explained how to set up a model in a way that you can write Tabular Editor scripts, and it recognizes all the objects and so on. But this is a little complicated, and we did that. We would not do anything else. And preparing for this presentation, I decided it makes sense to make a repository that you can download, and then with just very simple steps, we can already start writing code. Yeah. So this is what we'll do. First, you need an empty folder. Yeah, so we'll just create a folder. So demo. Okay. And oops, and we'll go back to view and then say, I want to clone a repository. Yeah. What repository we want to clone? The one I passed in the chat. So this is my GitHub Tscripting in Visual Studio. So we need this link. And let me copy it again. Okay, so I want to clone a repository. And this is the link. And for the folder, we'll go here. Okay, this is the folder one. And we click clone. Yeah. So now this takes a few seconds, or at least took a few seconds before the demo. Okay, let me make this smaller. And you see we already have here the solution and a couple projects. Yeah. Here, these are, to understand how I built this, I recommend you to go very quickly. Well, wait. So this is my blog. And so in between October and November this year, I wrote 3 articles. This one first explains how to set up all these references and so on in detail. This one explains a few tricks on how to build a script. But the second part also explains how to create an in-script class. Yeah, so you can create a custom class, and then you can define their methods and so on, so that you can have some functions that you can reuse in different scripts, which is very, very useful. The good thing for this one, you also have to set up a little project and so on. So we have all this already done for us. Yeah. Because this is the general functions is this repository of functions I was talking about, the Tscripts, and where we'll write our scripts. Yeah. So here we just have one class file, and you say, oh, nice, no? But however, you'll see now in a few seconds we start getting a lot of red lines, which are not good, right? Why are we getting these red lines? This is because we don't have the references yet to the Tabular Editor files that we need. And very important, for this you need Tabular Editor 2, because it's open source, so we can reference those files and we don't break any agreement or anything. So even if you have Tabular Editor 3, also please install Tabular Editor 2 if you want to do this. So how do we get rid of these red lines? We need to go and add reference. Yeah, this is explained on the blog post, so it's the same approach. Also, you'll find an explanation on where are these files found. This is the regular one from the program folder, and this one is found under application data local tabular editor. Yeah, I don't want to spend much time on that, so I'll just set up these two references, and boom, you see the lines are gone. Very good. And we have to repeat the same for the other one, because there are like two projects inside the same solution. I don't know, I'm not a really C# developer anyway, so. Okay, so now it's already, everything is working. And now in the C# scripts you see here, there are some comments I did for getting you started. So here basically we'll write some code, and this is what we'll copy back to Tabular Editor. All the code here outside is just to make coding here easier. So this is, for example, just so that we can start typing model.tables or something. So we need to teach, C# or what is model and something, and select it, and what type of object is selected and so on. And then there are certain functions in C# that you can type directly, like error, info, select table, select column, output, all this that live inside this script helper. So here in Visual Studio, you type script helper, and then you get the list of functions. But this script helper does not work well when you copy it back to Tabular Editor. So these functions here are like a wrapper so that you can use them without the script helper prefix. You see it now, I can type error because there's a function called error, which in turn just calls the other one, but it doesn't matter because I'll just copy the code and it will work directly. So this part here is really not used by Tabular Editor. It will only take this part that we write here. Okay, enough of all this talking. Let's try to build this this calculation group that we just built. And first we'll just build exactly the same one, or a copy of it, and then we start like making it more fancy. Okay, so what we'll need for sure is a name, right? So first we'll create a variable. So the string will be calc group name equals, I don't know, we'll call this labels2, right? So we can test it along the first one. Yeah. Here you see that the C#, the Visual Studio is so great. It's like, oh yeah, I created a variable, but nobody's using it, and okay, whatever. But it's good because it helps you a lot along the way. So, and now we have a name already. We can create the calculation group. We don't need anything else. We'll need more information to create the calculation items, but not the calculation group. But since we'll want to do more things with a calculation group, we need a variable to store the calculation group as well. So there's a calculation group. You see that I get all the types and so on from the tabular object model because I have the reference. I think we have to do the calculation group. Yeah. CG equals, and then we'll go with a model and then add calculation group. And you see, this is very, very easy because now I get all the IntelliSense, which is so good. And even you can put the name of the arguments because it helps you so much. And here we'll just put the cal group. You see, yeah, that one. Perfect. This is what I want. Okay, wait, I made a mistake because this returns a calculation group table. Okay, I always mix them up. Table. This is a calculation group table. And this is the function that will create it for me. Yeah, here we're assuming that there's not another one called the same. Anyway, we'll just go into the very, very easy way. And now we have the calculation group created. Then we need a name for the calculation item. Calc item name equals. This will be top value. Only top value. We'll call it like this. Top value. Okay. String, and then we'll need a calc item expression. Here, very careful, the calc item expression is just selected measure. Yeah. Remember that we don't want to change really the value that the measure will display. But we'll need the expression for the format string. Yeah, string calc item format expression. Otherwise it's too long. And here is when things get a bit more tricky because now we need to go and pick up our wait, where did the calc? Did I close that? Oh, I don't see. Oh yeah, here. Okay. What is going on? No, this doesn't have the. Oh yeah, here it is. Good. Okay, so now we copy all this and we go back to Visual Studio. And now, since we want to type a string that has like line breaks and everything, we'll just write @ sign and then we paste inside. And this is very convenient because we see already for example, the quotes that I had have already been doubled. So this at least works. This is expression. And yeah, we'll just add some tabs to make it nicer because then later we'll see how can we fix the formatting anyway. So at least it looks nicer. So now we have all the strings. And now it's time to create the calculation item. Yeah. So here also we'll need a calculation item. Calc item equals. And then is a calculation group dot add calculation item. You see, I mean, it all, look at this calculation group name, calculation. No, I mean, this is wrong, but it tries to help you, right? So yeah, I want to add a calculation item to my calculation group. Good. And now it tells me everything it needs. So what's the name of the calculator? So name is the calc item name, correct. And now the expression is the value expression. Yeah, so expression equal calc. You see, it's so smart. It already knows what you want to type. Very good. This is much better than typing in Tabular Editor. Yeah. So you see here we cannot specify the format string expression, but it's okay. Since we have the reference to the calc item, we'll just add it now. So calc item dot, and here we'll find the format string expression equals, and then we'll say calc item format. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, you see? And we should be fine. Let's see if this works, first of all, right? Because otherwise we should stop. So what we'll do is we'll copy this code. And now we'll go back to Tabular Editor. And we'll go to the C# script tab and we'll paste this. Yeah. Of course, we could like align that, but let's see first if it works. I run this and boom, I have here already a Tabular Editor 2, labels 2. Yeah. Okay, here we can see it. And if we go to the expression, select and measure, this is correct. And you go format string expression, we see we have the DAX, but it looks very ugly. Yeah. And since we'll want to run that, we don't want to do extra manual steps after execution. So let's fix that very quickly. We'll just do calc item. And you start like, oh, DAG, have you right? I want to do something with that. You see, I mean, even if the word doesn't start with it, we might even, no, not in this case. Oh yeah, format DAX. Yeah, that's what we want to do. You just need to know it's a function. Yeah, so we need to put the parentheses at the end. Let's see if this works. Well, it's the same with this at the end. Okay. So let's delete this and see if this now creates it nicer. Okay, now we have the labels to tell, and then we go to the expression editor format, and boom, we have a beautiful DAX here. So we already can get to the same place. Very good. But you said, Bernat, yeah, but we're doing all this so that we can change this part and this part easily, right? So, okay, I know. Let's get to the next step, which is, yeah, customizing this part. So what we'll need? We'll need first a table and a column from that table, right? So luckily we have the possibility of getting that quite easy. So first we need a table, so we'll create a table variable. Table, and we'll call this table. And then we'll use the select table, which is one of these functions. Yeah, normally we can use it also like select table with nothing, and then we'll just take the tables from the model. Here I just have one overload of that function, which requires me to pass the collection of tables from which I want to choose. So what we'll do is, I like it because it's more flexible. Select table. So here, what's the collection of tables I want to use? Okay. The select table, then it's just the model dot tables. And this will return me the collection of tables of the model. Next, here for this is optional. So if I want that the menu already shows one table pre-selected, I could have a reference to a table here. I'm not interested in that now. So we'll just put the label, and we'll say select table, no, select axis field table. Yeah, what table are you using for your axis? Okay. And next, we need to choose what column from that table are we actually using, correct? So and then it's a column, and then is equals a select column. And now here the first is the table, is the first argument. Then we don't want to pre-select any column. We just want to specify the label, which is select axis field. Okay, very good. So now we already have the table and the column. Now, how can I build this easily? Because how can I do that? I didn't know how to do that properly at the beginning, so I did very convoluted things. Now, I think that the best way to go about this is first to put here string dot format, Yeah. And now this is the string. But now in this string, we can put placeholders, which is like 0, like in curly brackets, you start using like, okay, this is one thing and this is another thing. So if I use the same thing in 3 places, I could like put the same placeholder. Yeah, but in this case, we only have 2 things to change. So I'll just 0 and 1. You need to remember who is who. And now this is the first argument. And then for placeholder 0, we just want to use the column, correct? So here is column, but this is the object. We want to have the table with a single quote and then a square bracket, the name of the column. How can we get to that quickly? So here with DAX, object full name. Yeah. In Tabular Editor, yeah, you don't know this. So if you use this, then we'll get everything we need. And also for the table, also the same thing, DAX object full name. So in case it has spaces, it will put the single quotes, everything. So and then we close the parentheses of the format. And let's see if this works. Yeah, because this is a little tricky already. Let's go back. We'll delete this one. And we'll delete this one. Okay, let's see what happens when I execute this. Whoa, select axis fill table, very good. In this case, I don't know, I was using date. Let's see if I can get to the same place. And here was year, month, short. Okay, and boom, we already have our calculation item. Let's see how it looks. Okay, this looks the same, but now let's do a difficult one, which is with a different one, yeah? What happens if I execute this? And now, no, I want to with the product and brand. And now I go to labels and see how the expression looks like. And we see that already we see the product brand and the product here. Isn't this cool? Yeah, I'm already quite happy with this. But we want, I don't know. I always think that the user should have the power to change the name of things, right? And also here we have a problem, which is imagine that we want to apply this in different charts on the same model, then probably we'll need different calculation items for each chart, depending on the axis. And it would be nice to have all the calculation items in the same calculation group. So we should have a better calculation item name, yes? So let's see how can we fix this. So you see, it's good to do it incrementally, like little by little, and keep pushing things. So let's get to the calculation item name, for instance. Now we already know the column that we want, so we could make a calculation item name that reflects the column. Yeah, so here we can say by. And here in C#, the concatenation is the plus sign, be aware of that. And column, here we'll just use the column name, yeah? Something like this. This will create a different. And then we have something else, which is this name, right? Because I like, we have some problems. Yeah, first is choosing the name. And then the other problem we have is that this script will create a calculation group every time. But actually, we just want to create the calculation item. But of course, if it's the first time, we also want the calculation group to be created. So how can we handle this? Okay, and then is when things start getting more complex, code-wise. I mean, it's just step by step, right? Okay, let's see how can we do this. The first thing that we can do is like, okay, if you already have a table called the same as a calculation group name, then don't create it. Yeah. But see what happens, because so I can create the conditional. So how can I check if there's already a table with that? So I would say what model.tables, and then I check with a link expression, any. And now when you write this any, then here you write a lambda expression, and let's say x is my variable. That now it's all of the tables in the. Look at this. Look at this. This is pretty much what I want to write. So x is all the tables. We'll go like one by one, so you can imagine it like this, and say, okay, if there's any table name that equals calc group name, we can use that. I mean, sorry. That name, oh, now I lost it. Equals calc group name. If this is true, yeah, then I want to get the reference to that table. Yeah. Otherwise, I want to create it. Yeah. Else, boom. However, if I do this, I can only use this this variable inside these brackets. Yeah, so here it doesn't exist anymore. So I need to create the variable before getting into the if statement. So I'll get this away and I'll declare it here. CG as equals the null. Here you have to cast the null as a calculation group table. Otherwise it gets mad. Okay, so here what we'll do is in case it exists is CG equals like model dot tables. Yeah, so we'll do it like, yeah. So we need to get it as a table and then say, no, but this is actually a calculation group table. Yeah, so we'll do this tables and then where, so to actually get the list, and we'll use the same lambda expression. Okay. But here it's already, but you see it helps a lot. It's here. You see this expression is returning a table, but you need a calculation group table. So this is not going to work. But I put here as calculation group table. And now it's all good. So if it already exists, it will get the reference from that. Otherwise, it will create it. Beautiful. So let's see if this works as well. Let's go and check it. So if I go here, now I run this, it should already find my previous one. And I say, okay, now I want to do, I don't know, product color. Okay, okay, that didn't work well. Why? Calculation group name. Wait, think I need, yeah, here, this returns like a collection. Wait, maybe I think here I need a first. Even if it only finds one, you need to say, okay, take the first one, I think. Okay, you see, this is why I was a bit afraid. I see, let's see if it works. Product, color. Yes, oh, nice. Yeah, because this is a collection of tables and we want just one table. So this is very, you see here we already have the new calculation item. And if we go to the format string, we see that this the one is the color. And then here we have the previous one, which was with brand. Okay, very, very good. And now, okay, before I check back, how is it going? Is there a way we can let the user choose what name? I mean, of course, we could put the name, the code, and say, yeah, you need to type the code, the name there. But many people is very afraid of touching any code at all. So how can we do that? Okay, so there is nothing native in these two references that will allow us to do that, but we'll add another reference that is very useful. So, which is here using Microsoft Visual Basic. Yeah, we put this here. And now what we can do is we'll type here interaction. No, it's not interaction. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, wasn't it like this? Oh, but I don't understand. You see? I mean, I put this here, but it wasn't recognizing it for some reason. And I was like, yeah, put it. And it's like, yeah, it's there. Okay. And here, I don't know if it was, no, it's not input box. It's just input. Oh, yeah, it's input box with a capital B. Oh, yeah, C# is case sensitive. Sorry about that. And now for the input box, we'll put here the prompt is a name of the calculation group of the label calculation group. And also it's very good always to put some default response. And here we'll put just labels. Yeah. Okay, this is good. Now, however, if you go ahead like, yeah, let's do this, you'll run into an error. Yeah. Here it says, I don't know what interaction thing is. Sorry. They're like, yeah, because we added that reference. Also, oh yeah, I know. And then you'll just go and probably say, okay, let's try this. But still does not work. Yeah, here also we see a red line under the Visual Basic part because like, what are you talking about? Here we need to add some extra because you remember we went here and we said add reference. If it's not something that already knows what it is, you need to do that. So in Tabular Editor, you need to do something similar. And the way to do that is like #R. And then here you can put like the name of the reference in double quotes if it's like a very normal one, or the full path if it's something weird that you have in a folder. Here is very basic. So you just need to use the same name without the semicolon, but in double quotes. Yeah. If you do this, boom, it works. Yeah. So, I don't know what this is. I don't know this stuff thing. But anyway, so here we could say labels test. And then we get all the, I don't know, now we want to a customer city. And here we see we created a new calculation group because we set a different name. Yeah, but if we go to the expression, we see that it still works wonderfully. Yeah, how does this look? Did you get some of that? I would like to hear some feedback on if you're more interested in the C#. We can discuss a bit further possibilities. Or if you have some question about the calculation group and you wonder if we could do this or that, I'm also happy to do it. Oh, I just realized that the calculation groups we create, the column, we didn't rename the column. Yeah, we can do that as well. But if there's some other question, I'll happy to answer that first.
Well, it was great, Bernat. So mind blown. So
okay, good.
Yeah, guys in the chat, if you are happy to ask any question or if you have any queries, please feel free to unmute yourself and shoot your question.
Oh, somebody's saying that there's a 404 error in what in the block.
Yeah, that links doesn't work. I checked that.
Which one? The second one?
Yeah, no, the second one works. The small one, just to learn the first page.
One.
But the other one with the TE-scripting dash in the Visual Studio, that doesn't work.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe is there any permission or level of access there?
Yeah, it's supposedly. Oh wait, maybe it's not. Okay, wait. Okay, we need to go to the settings. Yeah, I think it's in the danger zone. Where is it? Change visibility. Yeah, change topology. Sorry about that. Yeah, because I created the first one and then I said it wasn't working well, so I. Okay.
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 So that should be okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that works now. Perfect.
Great.
Perfect.
Thank you, Fernando.
Okay.
So
just one question, Bernard. If we want to write those C# scripts, if we don't want to use the Visual Studio, can we write them directly in the C# script of the Tabular Editor, or we need to use them concurrently?
No. I mean, Visual Studio is just to help.
Yeah.
So if you can write C# without IntelliSense, I respect you very much.
Because it's very hard. No, I'm not that guy. So
yeah. I mean, if you're Michael Kowalski, then probably you're fine. Otherwise, I would recommend going to Visual Studio. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Really, I mean, I wrote my first script, the one on time intelligence, which was very popular and made it into Cube and so on.
Yeah.
I wrote it directly in Tabular Editor. And it was a very painful experience. I don't recommend that to anyone because, I mean, it's like you want to do something, you don't know how it does. Because, I mean, some parts are even from the model. You don't get the full IntelliSense on everything on the model, all the properties and so on. And you don't know what is there.
That's really hard to know the properties. If you want to write them, if you even know the structure of how to write the C# script, then you need to know the property of the DAX model, tabular editor, or tabular model behind the scene. It's really hard because I wanted to draw something 1 month ago and I couldn't find the properties. Maybe this is really helpful, that repository you created. And my question is, that repository will cover everything? It's completed or not? All the properties?
I mean, we are references the Tom Wrapper DLL. So this is what Tabular Editor uses to modify the model. So everything is there. It's just totally crazy. Yeah.
Is there any dictionary or something like a DAX guide or something to know the properties and what is what in there? For example, if you want to know, okay, we want to create, for example, DAX, for example, calculation groups, you use different items. Is there any website or any other place to know about those details of those properties?
IntelliSense is the way to go, really. I mean, even if you write, you saw it. I mean, you say, I mean, if you don't know something, then you can also like bar. This is like a dynamic thing, measure equals. But as for when you start typing model, and then you already see everything here. So this is everything that you can get from the model, like implementation. This is completely crazy. And once you click one of them, set name, what is this? I don't know. I mean, so better than this. I mean, you can go into the GitHub and I don't know, you'll see the code before, but it is very hard. Yeah, a table, and then for each of them you get all the things that you need. Using this and some patience and so on, I wrote a script based on the relationships of the model. So this was quite popular as well. It's about it creates some measures to test invalid relationships in your model. So it detects all the one-to-many relationships and then creates expressions based on like, oh, are there any blanks? If I choose blank on the dimension side, do I get something? And then if I get something, I have a problem. Yeah, so it iterates over all the things, or even on the relationship, I also did one to create a calculation group that enables an inactive relationship. So it just creates the calculate, selected measure, use relationship, that one that you had selected. There's a blog post on that as well. So because the basic recommendation is like, yeah, you want to write C#, then just look at the code snippets website of Tabular Editor, and which is good. It has a lot of things, but it doesn't have everything, obviously. So, and then when you don't find it there, then you feel like, oh, and then you have to ask Daniel, and at some point Daniel has some time to answer you. But then I also had some doubts about C# as well. And I had to Google around, but I don't know the Lambda, how this works. Can I store that as a function? All these things I didn't know. So writing in Visual Studio was like, oh, this is like, getting into a spa, something. This is wonderful, man.
Yeah, and great.
Yeah, actually, well, what we are here, we didn't talk about this other one, but you see this project here has already a reference there into the other one. So if you just enable this, and here in the general functions, I already created like a very basic method, which is, it does nothing. It really just does the same thing. Yeah. However, the good thing is that here I can put some logic. For example, I can check if there's already a table with that name on the model, return me that table. Don't create a new one or something like this. Yeah. Oh. And then I can use this function on my script. Yeah. So here, if I write, I don't know, this is the table T equals, and then it's like, you need to put the fx, and then you see create call table is already there.
Okay.
And then the only thing that you need to do is in your script, you need to, at the end of the script, copy this. So copy here until you find the stars. Yeah, so you copy until here. Yeah, and then you need to uncomment this one because you need a closing bracket for this. But here I need some extra stuff to make scripting easy. But you can put that at the end and it will work. Yeah. There's a little thing, you need to always pass the model. You cannot reference the model inside the methods as of today. So if then you pass it to the variable and then you refer to that variable. Yeah. This is a limitation of Tabular Editor 2. Tabular Editor 3, you can reference the model inside the method and it's okay. But it's good to make scripts compatible. Yeah,
I wanted to ask that what is the main difference in terms of writing the C scripts between Tabular Editor 2 and 3?
Actually, now there's almost none. I mean, Tabular Editor 3, you have already IntelliSense for C#. Yeah, but for instance, if you start using custom classes, you will not get IntelliSense for custom classes in Tabular Editor, but you will get that in Visual Studio. So if you do custom classes, normally what I would do is create just one method with many optional parameters so that I can like tune that to do exactly what I want. But then it creates like a long list, and if without IntelliSense would be very, very hard to use. So I very recommend this. Also, if you are using external libraries, like we saw the Visual Basic one, you also do not get IntelliSense on that. And if you don't, and then it's very hard also to write message box or input box or all these things. So I mean, as much as I like that Tabular Editor does have some IntelliSense, I really recommend trying this out if you want to write something. I mean, if you just downloaded the script and you want to modify it a little bit, maybe you can get around without Visual Studio. But if you have some time, set it up once, and then you'll have it very easy. Also, you can have like each of your scripts can be like a method here. So you can also copy code from a different script that, oh, I did that. How did I do that? And you have it right there. Very convenient. I don't know. And sky is the limit really for that. It's more about use case, like, yeah, I want this, or sometimes we just get very, lazy, like, yeah, it could be nice, but it's not worth the time. If you start using this general functions thing, then it's like, yeah, but if I type it once, I'll have it forever for me. Then you suddenly type it, and then you just tune it up to make it that little thing that you need. And then next time you'll just build from there. So at the end, you have a very fancy method that will do almost anything you need. And then your script will be ever shorter and shorter because you don't have to check basic things. It all takes care, or even like error messages. It's very boring to write. Like, no, you didn't select anything. You can put that once first in a method in the custom class, and then just take it from there.
Perfect. So thank you again, Bernat.